Welcome to your Real Estate Update with Darren Ahearn. Each week, we break down housing trends, mortgage updates, buyer and seller strategies, and the local changes shaping Frederick County and beyond. No fluff, just smart insight to help you make better decisions with your home and your money.
All right. Welcome back to your Real Estate Update. I am your host, Darren Ahearn with RE/MAX Results, bringing you over 24 years experience in the Maryland and PA region and all over. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are live here on North Market Street in Studio 401 on the Everything Live platform. So thank you guys for tuning in. Episode number 10. I'm flying solo tonight. So gonna keep you real good company. Strap in, buckle up. This is your weekly dose of real estate reality. I'm going to be bringing it to you hot. We're going to be talking about some crazy, wild subjects tonight that I really have never done, even though if you haven't tuned in before, make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell, share it with your dog, cat, your neighbor, everybody that you know that we are here every single Monday night. Have live guests on with us as well. Be able to bring you some of the greatest information, most relevant for what's happening in the real estate market, mortgage market, and anything for all of you guys that are out there, buyers and sellers, investors, even renters. We like to tackle all the different subjects that are really important to know about. So there's a lot of noise out there, as you know. There's tons of videos and tons of things that you can look at and all that. But we're focused here primarily to be able to serve you, to bring you what is on your mind this last week. Thank you guys tuning in last week. I got a barrage of questions and things that came over. And so this is what kind of formulated and plus experience. I like to talk about real live on the street experience, what happens in real estate day in and day out, each and every single day that I do this and have the pulse on that market, what's happening right now. But we like to tune in first and foremost to our local area right here in Frederick. So make sure you tune in. Thank you guys so much and share it. Real quick also, if you're not familiar, nearly almost 10 years now, I host also your Frederick Real Estate Update every Saturday morning on WFMD 9:30 a.m. And Terry Kernan from Presidential Bank Mortgage. So thank you guys so much. All of our awesome sponsors. We have Community Title Network, Brienne Paul and her crew over there for all the title work needs that you need. And we'll have a commercial break on that. And also Presidential Bank Mortgage, Terry Kernan. And finally, who is amazing and awesome. And I saw at Madrone's today and we hung out and had some dinner. And that would be the one and only Connie Phillips Insurance and Carl over there keeping her going. She's awesome. Those guys are all amazing. And they have helped hundreds of my clients and people that have called in to get second quotes and help and making sure their insurance needs are taken care of. So, all right. Thank you guys so much again tuning in. We're going to crack right on into it. And one of the things I do want to share, if you're anywhere out there, make sure two big things. Number one, you can always get a hold of me, a trusted resource. One of my good friends out in Columbus, Ohio, was able to get linked up with a great real estate agent out there with a great team that's in the top 3% of all agents and just kicks butts and takes names. And that's the kind of people we want to link you up with. So whether you have family members, friends, whoever you know, or you just yourself live anywhere throughout the United States or in the whole world, I can definitely make sure I interview and get you some great referral partners to help you out so that you are in great hands, okay? Also, real quick, we are giving away our summer big giveaway, Sheetz gift card, $100 gift card to Sheetz gas station. What do they have to do to win it, man? Here it is. The rules and the rules of the game. If you've never listened in, whoever can tell me, and you have one of the best apps you can ever download is Mortgage News Daily. Make sure that you go on your app, your little phone there, Mortgage News Daily. Download that app every single day. It's on the pulse of the market as far as interest rates and what's happening in the markets and mortgages. And that's what everybody wants to know. Today, we're at like 6.76, I believe. So the first person that can tell me, you got to put in your name. You can put in the comments and things, and we'll jot those down. We need to have your name and phone number and everything. And what you got to do is tell me, what day do you think, and this is a stretch, what day do you think interest rates for a 30-year mortgage conventional fixed loan will get down to 6.25%? So put your name in a hopper. We have about 17 or 18 people so far that got their names in the hat. And anybody out there, you can play and get your $100 Sheetz gift card when that time happens. So I don't know when it's going to be, but boy, oh boy, we've been struggling to get rates below 6.5 again. It's been pretty flat, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, but thank you guys tuning in. Here are the rules. QQQ. Anybody has a question, it's going to pop up. I'll see it. I definitely want to talk about what is important to you about real estate tonight, okay? So you can basically put your question there. And if you have a win, if you have a big win in real estate, something good happened, settled on a house, or you got something under contract, or you were able to like stick as a buyer, you were able to just stick it to the seller. You got something fixed on the house you didn't think they'd agree to, or closing cost help, or whatever it is, whatever win you've got. And if you've got a story or something you want to share that you're not real happy about that's happened as well, we'd love to hear from it. I'll be glad to address my thoughts on it and give you my professional intake. So, all right, here we go. We're going to start off tonight tackling Frederick County, the inventory. Now, first, the United States, we're at about 1.1 or just a little bit less in inventory. It's been climbing up. We're going up by 2.7% year over year is what I saw today on an article that we've seen inventory climbing, and we're about the same here. It's not too much different. Nothing catastrophic. So, for instance, today, 709 houses are now for sale in Frederick County. 709. Last year, we were back at about 550, 570 or so. And last week, we're at 705. So we've only gained a little bit, 94 coming soon. So a lot of people ask with inventory, and this is the big question I get is, when in the world does that affect, why is inventory not growing like crazy like we think it could happen, especially in the spring and summer months? We went up a little bit, but it's a really even actual pace that we're seeing now. And the big question is, when do we max out? And that's probably in October. What number do you think we'll max out at? I, at this point, seeing the trend as our friend and starting to really keep my eye on this tighter, I will be amazed if we get over 800 homes for sale in Frederick County coming up here by the time we say hit October or so like that. So, but once the breaking point would happen, if we see it every time again, and we have before, once we get about 1,100 homes, that is a pure, unadulterated, not a buyer's, not a seller market. It's flat as can be. Now it becomes even more granular, of course, as far as direct competition, how many homes are for sale in your area or your neighborhood, and what are they, and how much direct competition you have versus indirect, which is like in a, say, half a mile radius or a mile radius. And if you live out in the country, like I do up in Sabellasville, up where the Bears live, and we get all the snow, by the way. That's why when they shut schools down and it's like raining or it's like 45 degrees in Frederick, we're getting like blasted up on the mountain with snow. We love it. And all the kids have fun. So you have to come up sled riding with us one time, all you Frederictonians down here in the city, you city slickers. And what it is, check this out. Inventory. We're fine. People are like, oh no, so we're starting to see a place where it, even though on paper, it's in a position right now with inventory that's nothing catastrophically bad. It's like really flat. But until we get much higher, we're not going to see prices change much at all. In fact, not even a crash or a major decline. It would be astounding, boys and girls, to see our values in Frederick County here be able to go down like 5 or 6% year over year. That would be ugly. That'd be nasty. Now, we have seen 2 quarters since the height of in June of 2022. We have seen 2 times where we've seen a quarter, 3 months, where we've gone down 0.5% or 1% maybe. Now, that was pretty shocking, and there's a lot of variables that contribute to that. Most of it was happening during the time when interest rates were shooting up from 3 and 3.5%, 4%, and bam, like a rocket, within 6 months, we were over 7% up and into the 8s. So, and then that came back down, and it goes up quick. It was coming down a little bit low. So the interest rates are a big factor that causes a lot of the buyer demand to be able to heat up or slow and cool on down. But we are a little bit less with buyer demand right now, a little bit less than the average. Most of that's hinging upon the fact that we just had the Fed meet. The Fed met and they kept interest rates flat. The prime rate, 6.75%. Second time in a row that's happened. That means here's the bottom line. Inflationary pressure is not out of control. It's not at the target of 2%, but if we're at 3 or 3.5, they're kind of shrugging their shoulders saying no big deal. We don't need to boost up the economy and put interest rates down, and we don't have to put it up because of this or that. But if they do lower interest rates, the craziest thing happens to mortgages. It actually goes up a little bit for a while, and then it follows the trend as your friend and comes down slowly and parallels that thereafter. So, in the opposite, of course, is if interest rates go up, mortgage rates actually go down. And then they go back up. It's like a weird bounce. And so, All right, those are the trends. 705, 709 inventory, 94 coming soon, which is a little bit more than we've normally seen this summer and springtime. Normally been hovering in the 70s and 80s. And so, but yet we have enough buyer demand to be able to hedge off things and all that. So under contract, 525. That is a little bit less than the average we would see at this time of the year in the beginning of August. This is about the height of the year when we see the most under contracts. And during 2021, we had almost 775. Oh, that was beautiful. That was unbelievable during 2021, seeing that in the height of 1 month's average being under contract in Frederick County, the highest number we almost have ever seen. So sold in the last 30 days, 343. That number will go up a little bit. I think we're going to get up to close to 380 to 390 soon, because 90% of those homes that are pending under contract, they're all going to settle within pretty much 30 or 35 days. So once that comes into that mix of that last 30-day numbers, it's definitely going to go up. We'll probably hit, I don't think we'll hit, we might hit 400, but my prediction's like 390. So that's not too bad as far as the inventory news. The average price point, we're going to get into this now. Year to date, now that we just got through July, I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of last year, this year, where we're at year to dates. So how many homes have sold? Volume. Volume is up, which is really good. At this time last year, 1,968 homes had sold in Frederick County. We have about 9 or 10 a day, actually about 8, or it used to be about 10. We'd have about 3,600-ish homes sell per year. For a little while, we were having one brand new house every single day in Frederick County sell, which would put it, do the math, 365 brand new homes. That's like a whole brand new community every single year cropping up in Frederick County. That number is actually a little bit down. Builders are down. We're starting to see that decrease. And we'll predict maybe 290 to 300 homes at the most brand new that will be sold this year in Frederick County. But 1,968 was last year's number year to date. This year, 2,084. We've had 116 more homes year to date from January 1st till now sell this year so far. So volume is up. That's a good thing. So with brand new homes last year at this time, it was 178. This year, 237. So that's why I say we'll probably get to 300, 310, maybe 320. It depends. I have 2 of them. I got 2 brand new builds. One of them over in Broomfield. We settle on that on August 11th. And then I have a second one that's not until like October, end of October, when all the Halloween costumes come out. So those are the numbers for that. Days on market. This is pretty integral here. Last year, 27 average days on the market. This year, 36. It's taking a little bit longer. Average list price ratio, 98.8, which means the average seller sees their home selling for 1.2% less than their asking price. So some of them, if you're smart, you can have a bidding war and it goes above, but you got to be on the aggressive side, and that's how you get the best offers, best terms and conditions. And then that number is slightly slower down because these are the sellers that overpriced their house maybe, or they didn't, they were at market. And then all of a sudden things shifted a little bit with some of the interest rates and the buyer demands and sentiments and all these fun numbers and the war and a bunch of other crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden they got an offer that's a little bit less. And so sometimes we see that even at a market, hard to be able to predict that. That's like shooting a gun and, hitting bullseye and stuff like that, but we can get pretty darn close. All right, median, this is the big stuff. Last year, median average price of all the homes, this is detached to everybody, $470,000 in Frederick County. This year, $490,000. So we're up just a little bit there. $490,000 is a median. What that median is it takes out the high highs and low lows. So it takes out the data that would kind of skew things a little bit more, and it just crunches it down, the data a little bit better, and it's a little more definitive. It's a little better, a little more accurate, and it tightens it up a little bit. But when you get to the averages, the average price home was $520,000 last year, and this year, right now at this time, $528,000. So we're up $8,000. So we're up about 1.5%. That's on the average, and that makes sense because for a little while there, we were about 2.25%, almost really. Year to date, we were doing okay, and then it slowed, and then bam, we hit another little bit of a lull. And before you know it, now we're at about 1.4 to 1.7. And it depends on where you're at. Now, there are some homes in the area in our community here that prices are down. There's no doubt about it. There's data that supports the fact that 3, 6, 9 months ago, a year ago, some of the homes in different communities, apples to apples, they were selling for a little bit more. Not much, though. The most we've seen is about a 3% adjustment downwards in value as a whole. Now, some people say it seems like it's worse at times because you might see a house that comes up on Zillow or Remax or Redfin or whatever, and all of a sudden you can go and look and see where it listed at, what it's sold at, and you're like, holy cow, they came down $40,000 to get their home sold. That's a crazy decline in the market. No, that's a crazy seller that overpriced their house and an agent that let them do it, and it did them no justice, and they ended up probably walking away with less than they would have if they just did it right from the beginning. And I got tons of data that proves and shows how that all works. Best thing a seller can ever do in real estate is have a fist fight in the front yard. Best thing a buyer can ever do in this market is hit the lottery and pay for a cash on a house. How's that? So, all right, mortgage stuff. We talked a little bit about that. It's been a little bit flat here. It's up and then flat a little bit. And it's okay. Nothing major, nothing to get crazed out about and all that. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break here. Coming up, we're going to thank our amazing, awesome sponsors. And then once I get back, here's what we're going to talk about. What do we do? Perfect. Everything is sunshine and roses when you're buying or selling a house. No way. You kidding me? If you ever hear that, somebody's lied to you. This is one of the most complex things to work through and deal with, one of the most stressful. And I'm going to share some stuff with you when we come back, because we're talking about this next segment about what in the world do you do when all hell breaks loose in real estate. So thank you to our sponsors. Check this out.
Hi there, I'm Brianne Paul, an attorney with Community Title Network, the most trusted title partner for real estate professionals, buyers, and sellers. Our experienced attorneys, settlement agents, and processing staff put you at ease whether your closing involves residential real estate, commercial real estate, or other real estate matters in between. We work with the most respected title underwriters in the region to make sure your rights are protected and all title problems are resolved quickly. Experience close to home with our many locations, serving Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and Ohio, as well as remote signing options available. Reliable, efficient, top-notch service. That's Community Title Network. How can we help you today? Find us online at www.communitytn.com or call us at 301-304-6620.
Life doesn't always go as planned, but with Connie Phillips Insurance, you'll be ready for whatever comes your way. As an independent agent, CPI shops multiple carriers to find the right coverage at the right price. Auto, home, life, or business, we got you covered with personal service you can trust. Call Connie Phillips Insurance today at 301-662-5717. Remember, advising what's in your best interest, not just selling policies.
All right, I am Darren Ahearn with Remax Results, your host, your real estate update this week. And appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell each time, and you will get notified, I think, on YouTube and whatever else. You'll get to know when we're here, and you'll get to know when everybody's here on the live program here on the Everything Frederick. It's awesome. So, all right, check this out. We're going to get deep into this. What do you do when all hell breaks? Nah, that can't happen in real estate. It's perfect. You guys, y'all real estate agents got it easy. Y'all just sit around, you put a stick in the yard and put a sold sign up in 5 more minutes and get offers. You make all that money and go to golf club and eat caviar and blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, I'm not bitter. Trust me. Only done 100,000 hours in this sport. It's pretty intense. So, all right, check this out. What do we do? What do we do as buyers and sellers? What are the most probable things that happen and the causes that things do not happen the way we want in real estate? So we're going to focus primarily on what do we do whenever you don't get to settle or close on time as a buyer and seller. What are all the things that you could think about you need to know? And I give this to all of our clients, all my clients, my buyer consultation, my seller one, and my binder. I love to give this out so that no one can say, oh my gosh, Darren, I had no idea that could happen. I had no idea that 99% of real estate transactions are going to have a snag. There, I said it. Deal with it. That's exactly the darn truth, okay? It is so complex and crazy. There's literally over 200 steps that we have to pay attention to make sure that not one plate drops on the ground and shatters. There's a lot of balls that are spinning. There's a lot of things out of our control. There's a lot of things you got to babysit And the number one thing I love to babysit are buyers and sellers' expectations, because if you don't get that right, it can either make or break how everything goes. But there are elements that are out of control. Those primarily entail basically like, the title work. They do their great job. By the way, tomorrow morning I have a settlement community title network. Brianne and Diego and all the crew, Nancy, everybody over there, they're awesome. They do a great job. Almost never does that ball get dropped over on that side of the court. Those guys know what they're doing. They do a great job, and I love it. But that's out of our control as real estate agents. The other one is lending. Oh, are you kidding me? Lenders. I love lenders. Terry, man, sitting here, I love lenders. I got a bunch of them in my back pocket. They're wonderful, very competitive, got well over 20, 30 years experience. Anytime there's a glitch, a problem, they a better interest rate, a better program, a grant money to find out there, man, they're on it. They know how to do it. And that's why I love it. And that's why I have really, really great sellers and buyers, especially the buyers on that end, that are so happy. They're just like, you kidding me? This is a great experience. We never thought it could be this smooth or whatever. We didn't think we were going to find. We got up to $20,000 in grant money, whether you're a first-time home buyer, my mortgage program, bunch of that kind of stuff. And it's great. So that's the stuff that I love to do, is dive into all this in the deep waters with you guys. But there's a lot of things that you don't know until you know. And there's a lot of things that won't happen. But when they do, this is why you have someone like myself that lays awake at night going over every little scenario. We don't practice law. I'm not an attorney, but boy, oh boy, I feel like it at times, because we're totally thinking about contracts. What are the agreements? What could go happen in South? What could be a glitch, and what would be a solution to something potentially? My motto in all of this sport has been two big things. Number one, don't sweat. I don't like the sweat in preparation, and you won't bleed in the battle. And number two, I used to have it all in the back of all my Suburbans and all my real estate stuff and everything. And I still do in a lot of my print stuff and everything. It's not about the home. It's about serving you. And so this is true, because it really is not about the house. We have to know about it. Sticks, mortar, bricks, this, that, roofs, and fun stuff, and tile floors and blah, 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 and all that. But at the end of the day, this is about changing lives. This is about making sure that you get into your home sweet home, or hand over the keys and move on with your dreams and goals. And it goes so well that you're a raving fan, card carrying member, right? All right. So what are some of these things? It's never good when a settlement doesn't happen on time. National Association of Realtors, the Confidence Index reports show that 13% of all contracts experienced a delay of settlement. This is not just like a delay of game. These are some that just go beyond and beyond. So out of every 100 transactions, 13 are not going to settle on time. 6% of the contracts were terminated and never closed. Those are the ones. I have only had one settlement over, 725 of these or more now. I've only had one time where I, as the pilot, got to come onto the loudspeaker and I got to say, guys, boys and girls, everybody, including stewardesses, that neat little mask that dropped down, forget it. Don't even put it on. Putting your head down between us, forget it. Don't even do that. We're going down. This plane's crashing, boys and girls. Look out the window, smile, and wave, because we're done. Basically, I've only had one of those, thank God. But man, there are some massive horror stories. You could go on like YouTube and TikTok and all them all day long, and you could look up settlements that have gone south and bad, never closed. Man, there's stuff on there. People, I think, make it up for clickbait. It looks like Jerry Springer stuff. I've never had that, but man, oh man, we get close to it. 6% of contracts terminated, never closed, and that is just not cool. You should be able to save anything, really. Therefore, roughly 81% of things settle on time. That's the good news. 81% settle on time. 23% pre-COVID did not settle on time, so we've gotten better. Now, just because something doesn't settle on time means it's catastrophic, because we've gone over the percentages and numbers. But what are the elements that cause us to get a little bit like, are you kidding me? We may actually have a delay in the game. So 9 out of 10 times, I have learned almost every problem and glitch with real estate is solved by two things. Number one, time. We may need no more time to deal with something to get it resolved, and boom, we settle. I have one tomorrow morning that we were going to settle on Friday. It was only delayed not because of anything else, but because the buyer did not have enough cash to close funds, and it wasn't a big deal because the loan had to be adjusted and shift just a tiny bit. The lender did an amazing job. to be able to very, very quickly get it back to underwriting, change it, put a little bit less money down. Boom, they got more cash to close. And we had already had the settlement date set for tomorrow on Tuesday. So it didn't affect the seller. It didn't affect the other listing agent. They weren't like freaking out or nothing. It didn't cause a train wreck. I'll tell you what it did. It just caused my buyer to go, oh, shoot, I thought we were going to settle on Friday. Oh, man, I wanted this weekend to move in. All right, no big deal. We'll just do it on Tuesday. So that is about as minor as a hiccup you can ever get because we didn't exceed the time frame. But there are many cases. I had a settlement today. It was a drop dead, absolute, gotta settle August 3rd, or the buyer's not buying the house. They're not walking away under no circumstances. We're talking like if we didn't get this done by midnight tonight, done. Stick a fork in it. Sellers, buyers, everybody, we're done. This would have been a plane crash, start over, put it back onto the market, try to find another buyer. And that would have been really, really tough under the circumstances. I like to protect people's identities, places, everything else. But here's what I'll say, and this is no joking matter, and this is for real. Today's settlement is no doubt in my top 5 out of everything. Toughest one ever. This one, I earned it and I nailed it, baby. This one was absolute crazy in so many regards. I'm not going to go through a gazillion of the details. But I will tell you this, we cut this down to the wire like you can't even imagine. I mean, there's this one, I'm going to write my book and this one's in it. I can promise you. So love my sellers. They're awesome. I appreciate them. And I love the buyers and I love the other agent. I love everybody and we got her done. So, but it was tough. I'm not going to lie. All right. Here's the next big thing. Real estate is closing. We talked about it. Settlement dates can be delayed for many, many reasons. Let's dive right on into it. This is in no particular order, but man, there are a lot of them. I mean, we're talking like a lot of them. So this may actually take a couple weeks to get all through these. And of course, anybody's questions and things, you can drop them in there and we will get to those. So financial problems. Woo, if I had to pick like what's the number one thing that delays a settlement, I don't want to be mean as a real estate agent. I love all my lenders. But man, there's been some times where we've pointed over there and said, it's the lender, Your Honor. It's the lender, the lender. Yeah, that can be for a gazillion reasons though. We're going to hit it. The buyer's loan is not approved on time. All right, let's piece this out apart. How in the world can the buyer's loan not get approved on time? All right, here we go. When a buyer puts in an offer on a house and they want to purchase it, each different loan types can take a different timeline to get approval, we call it clear to close. No more conditions the lender needs to get done. All right. So when a buyer puts it in, they do loan application. That's got to be done like right away. Some smart buyers do a full-blown loan application before they even start looking at homes. Now, the first question buyers say is, whoa, wait a minute. That's too premature. If I do a full loan application, am I committed to that lender? No, not necessarily. Number 2, what if I do a second one down the road? Is that going to ding my credit? No, not unless it's within 30 days. There's soft pulls and hard pulls. Those affect your credit scores differently. And the lender is going, if they're good, they're going to go through this stuff with you very detailed about what moves to make, what to do and not to do. That's going to affect you. Okay, so full loan approval, getting that to that point. Number 1, you have to do a full loan application. See, people, I don't want to do that. I just want to know what the heck the interest rate is. You can't do that. There's 5 major components that dictate your rate, not your neighbor, not your friends, okay? It's not just FICO score. That's one of the biggies, but there's 4 or 5 other elements that go into that in variables. It could be loan to value ratios. It could be how much money you're putting down. Every single factor dictates things like this. What loan are you doing? You doing conventional loan? Or are you doing an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down? Conventional 3%, 5%, 10, 20, whatever. The lowest is 3. USDA rural housing loan. That's based on where the house is located. That's 100% financing, 0 money down, boys and girls. And the other 4th loan type would be your VA military loans, 0 money down. You can put money down, but you don't have to. And there's no mortgage insurance on those. All right, so here's the thing. Once we know what loan, so when I get an offer, when I list a house and I see the buyer's offer, first thing I do is I call the lender to find out how strong it is, number 1. But within those parameters, I need to know immediately to advise my seller what the heck is going on about what loan type is this buyer doing. That is going to now directly correlate to the settlement date. Now, cash, I have one settling in on Friday. It's all cash deal that I listed. Were you kidding me with cash? They did no inspections, no appraisal, no financing. Only give me the HOA docs. By mayor law, they have to 5 days. The buyer gets to review them by law and get out of the contract or not. Condos is 7 days. We got past the 5 days. There's no more contingencies, boys and girls. If they pull out, they lose their deposit. We're going to be settling on Friday. This offer was submitted literally a week and a half ago. So the title company had to scramble to get the seller's loan payoff because that takes a little while. And we had to move as fast as we could, lightning speed on this one. And because there's no financing involved, there should be no delays, right? Of course. But we could have never turned and burned this bad boy, no matter what loan, within 2 weeks, unless that lender already has the buyer completely pre-approved. They have all the documentation. They have all the pay stubs. They have last year's tax returns. They have everything they need. It's already been submitted to underwriting. And the only condition comes down to this. What about the property? They need, is there appraisal or not? And if it's a waived appraisal or a desktop or it's got a variance on it, then all of a sudden we're good to go. They can actually maybe pull that off pretty quick. The other factor is title companies. It takes about 7 days, sometimes 4 days to be able to turn around title and make sure it's clean and free and it's good and there's no problems and hiccups there. So cash deals, yes, we can do those in 10 days, 14 days. This one we had HOA docs, so I gave them to them right away, but it's only because I had them in my hands because another offer had fallen through previous to this one and we had them. If we didn't, sometimes they take a week or two to get, and then the buyer has 5 days to review. You're not settling for 20 days, even if we put a rush on it. So there's so many variables that back up into the details of a buyer's loan not being able to prove on time. Now, if the buyer's turned everything in, it's in the hands of the lender, and the lender and the processor, it's their job to submit this junk over to underwriting at warp speed in real time very quickly. A very good lender, they are going to interrogate the living heck out of you, okay? They are going to barrage you with, I need this, I need this. You're going to be like, what the heck? You need my underwear size? You need my blood type too? It's going to feel like that, and that's a good thing because it's all about speed and getting everything over into underwriting so that your loan gets tidied up and packaged real well and it comes back with a quick clear to close. Rather than, because a lot of underwriters, just because you give everything doesn't mean an underwriter is not going to come back when it's in the underwriting process and ask for another piece of document. It could be anything. You may have a questionable outstanding, like the biggest thing we see. Oh man, I had no idea I had a something in collections that was from 10 years ago. For God's sakes, a medical bill for $100. That will instantly hit the emergency brake on your getting your dumb loan done. It just will do it. It's dumb. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense. But now the lender got to track this stuff down and get it and get proof and all that. So I hear it all the time. I tell buyers, look, make sure that you get everything in quick so that they know they can find if there's any little things that need to be taken care of from you. Okay. All right. So buyer's loan not being approved on time. That really is a really, really big one. Now, what happens if it's not? 9 out of 10 times the lenders are pretty cool. It's not like, surprise, we're not ready to go yet. Because in the contract, we have it in there where we want to have what is known as loan commitment letter. We want to get the lender to send us a loan commitment letter. When I help buyers, I typically do that 4 or 5 days before settlement because by law, the lender has to send out the closing disclosures for you as a buyer to sign, review the numbers, make sure everything's legit before settlement. And that rule came into effect with Dodd-Frank stuff and not too crazy long ago. When I got in this 24 years ago, man, there was none of this stuff. It was wild, wild west. There weren't like built-in laws and timeframes and things that we had to abide by and a lot of rules and regulations. But now it's a lot. And we have to know every single in and out. And we work in conjunction together to make sure you as a buyer seller, you know what's going on at all times. So, all right. So that's the big thing about lenders, proving it on time. Very rare does it happen. Now, what can happen on the sell side? Sellers, if the buyer can't get their loan approved in time, we got to like push settlement back a little bit. That can get a little sticky, and we're going to get into some more details about how to navigate through some of that. So The lender requests additional documentation. We talked about that. That is very common that happens. The buyer changes jobs. Dear God in heaven, please, for the love of God, don't do it. I have heard, I tell buyers to just be on your best behavior at work. Buy the dang house first, then you can do it. No, I'm just kidding. This is really a serious thing. I have heard of it. You can't do this. Do not be in the middle of buying a house and get a loan and then get mad at your boss, interview, find another job. Oh, I quit my job. I start next week. No bueno. That's going to be bad news. That is a massive hiccup. That could easily, potentially mess up settlement and delay things because they have to now get, man, it's like starting over. They got to get like proof of employment and the offer letters and, proof from the HR of what your base salary is and what your bonuses might be. And what about this? And it can massively alter. And you can get your loan denied based on the fact of, I changed jobs. I got mad at my boss. I got another job. Too bad it pays a little less. Are you kidding me? What pays less? Now you may not even qualify for the house at all. Forget about a delay. So I'm giving you some serious inside stuff that you really got to know about and pay attention to. Please do not change jobs. Taking on new debt. Oh man, this will definitely mess stuff up. One of the number one things I tell buyers is this. Live on beans and rice, man. For those 35, 40 days, live on beans and rice. Do not change your lifestyle. Number one, never go buy a new car. Dear God in heaven, you'll live in the car. You will not have a house. It's bad. It's really bad news. I have not heard of too many people buy a brand new car and they still qualify for a loan because the average car payment today is almost $600, which means that is almost $85,000 in purchasing power for a house. Are you kidding me? All right. So take on new debt. Credit cards. Do not open up credit cards. Don't cancel them. Don't close them. Don't open up a HELOC. Don't do lines of credit. Don't get a personal loan. Don't buy a car. I kid you. Don't move money around. Dear God, do not have your grandmother give you $50,000 lump sum and go stick it in your bank account. That is going to cause a delay potentially. That's going to be like, where in the flip did that come from? And now you got to prove it. You got to either get a gifting letter or prove, that where you got the money. I had that happen. I had a client, single mom, teenage. She was she waited tables and made good money. Oh man, this is my rookie times. And when I was like not adverse to like, this can happen. So all of a sudden we're like a week or so or 5 days before settlement. She's getting a townhouse here in Frederick. She's all excited. She had her money saved up. Are you kidding me? Then she decides to go into her mattress, which she had been saving money for like over 5 years of tips. And she literally threw like $30,000 in her bank account and went, I got $30,000 extra dollars to fix my new house up coming up. Holy cow. When they saw the bank statement, when they saw that, they knew she was a server, but they didn't realize it was a mess. It really caused a major problem. And they were like, where in the world did you have this money? She's like, in my mattress. They're like, no. That's not what normal people typically do. She's like, well, that's what I did. I've been saving this up. And it was a really big problem. It took about another week, if I remember, and it screwed up everything. I said to her, man, I wish you would have told me you had this extra money. That's not just extra money, pocket change that fell out of the car. I wish you had number one, didn't put it in your mattress. You should have, what if the house burnt down, your rental place? But this is something that's really important, guys. Don't make large purchases. Dear God, nothing. Don't go. The number one thing buyers make a fatal error buying a house with large purchases is not so much the car. It's we went over to the furniture store and we bought $10,000 in new furniture to be delivered. Because remember, it takes 4 to 6 weeks to have delivered. So by the time we're under contract to buy the house, we go buy the furniture. The furniture's not even going to be there for 2 or 3 weeks after we sell the house or get into the house. That's going to cause a massive problem. Do not go and make a large purchase like buying furniture before, because now you got to cancel it. Now you got to put it back on layaway and you can't even mess with it. And the lender can't know about it no more, blah, blah, blah. So it really can be a big problem. That's probably the number one thing we see a lot of. And as a listing agent, when I'm selling a house, I can't do the buyer agent's job and talk to the buyer and tell them about all these things to pay attention to and to not do, so it doesn't screw up my seller on the other side. All right, financing problems. This is always our favorite. 17% of the time this happens. The appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price. I could spend an hour on this nonsense, but I can't do it. We don't have the time. Appraisal, 17% of the time it comes in lower. How can this delay things? Well, it causes a full-blown renegotiation of the contract between the seller and the buyer. That's what happens. Unless it's already stipulated in the contract and in writing, if in the event that there's an under appraisal issue, we now either A, already know it's going to be split 50-50. Seller comes down 50% of that money amount in the purchase price. The buyer brings the other 50% in cash. We call it a day. That's kind of typical we've seen before. That's ended. In COVID, oh, dear God, we saw people under appraisal addendums, 10,000, 20,000, 100%. No matter what it appraised at, we're bringing the cash, boys and girls, because we're up against 20 other offers, and that's the only way to probably win. Those days ended very quickly and abruptly. Then we got to like more reasonable, and now buyers in this regard with the under appraisal thing, if there's an inclination of it, but a lot of buyers today are like, nope, I ain't paying a dime more. I'm already paying top dollar. And that's true. That's a fair statement. I would never argue that in 9 million years because it is a really true statement. So, but you got to have a plan, because if that happens, I have a plan for selling side of that on that equation. And I also have the plan for the buyer if that would ever happen. What would be the most best move to make I could professionally guide and give so that it can basically you can still get your house, or maybe not. It's up to you. But what would be the best way to navigate through it so that it's the most fair situation and you still get your dream house and you don't upset the whole dang apple cart, okay? The lender has underwriting delays. Woo, this is really out of our control. We never know who the underwriter is. We'll never meet them. The lender practically doesn't even, well, sometimes they know who they are. But the underwriter has delay. Now, how could they have a delay? Okay. The only time I've seen an underwriter delay, because they're pretty on their toes. The only time I saw an underwriter delay was during COVID. COVID brought during 2020, 2021. Are you kidding me? That brought a whole set of problems that you don't even want. One day I may do a show on it, like what was different about doing real estate then versus now, besides the fact that I was working 17-hour days. I literally sold 54 homes in 2021. So while everybody was watching movies and getting tired of eating Dorito chips, I was literally working 17 and 18 hours per day, and my kids will vouch for that. They never saw me. The underwriting delays, yeah, this is something that no one can predict, but it's so rare. There would have to be a really extreme reason why it would be delayed, and that would only be because that they were probably asking for something that they needed to have cleared up from a condition from the buyer, and the buyer 9 out of 10 times, they're the one not cooperating. That's what it is. So final loan documents are not ready. Ooh, that would be the lender that went on vacation and their processor didn't know how to clean up the loan package and send it over to the title company. That's really rare too. I'm just picking on lenders for fun because I love them. That's just being affectionate, what I just mentioned, for real. They know what I mean. Final loan documents are not ready. No, those guys are on their ball. It's really, really rare that a lender's like, oh, I didn't know that was supposed to be in a loan package. That's not the case. Those guys got a checklist that's pretty airtight proof and really good and solid. I know a lot of lenders, and I've talked to them at great lengths on their processes, their overlays, we call them, their everything, their internal systems, and blah, 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 blah. And why it's so important that they are just awesome at what they do. And it gets done then. I can sleep at night. Knowing the loan package. So shout out to Natalie Winters. She did an awesome job. 2 past loans, got them done, man. Boof, just turn and burn, baby. And Terry's done a couple. He's got one this, next week? This week, I have one in Virginia that we're settling. And man, they've got it already ready now. They're like, they've got the whole package done, underwriting done, and it's been done. And they're just waiting to send the CD out. And the fact they can do it earlier than the 3 days. And my buyer is really, really happy with that. So those are all the financing issues and problems. The next big thing, I'm going to go to a commercial break. We got about maybe 12, 15 minutes. I'm going to get into the next big segment of this. And I just want to say our awesome sponsors, they're amazing. make sure you give them a shout. They're great. Check this out.
Sponsored by A&S Construction is a local and award-winning woman and minority-owned business located right here in Frederick, servicing Frederick County and surrounding areas. A&S Construction specialize in roofing and siding, windows and gutters, and they can even build you a new patio or deck. Call 301-703-2157 or email info@ansconstruction.net. You can get $750 off any roof or siding replacement or $50 off any roof repairs. Just tell Sandra that Danny sent you. Sponsored by Maryland Lottery. Tons of ways to win. Hot scratch-offs like Big Money, where a $5 ticket could net you $50,000, or the $2 Monopoly ticket with a top prize of $10,000. Go to mdlottery.com for all the details. Plus, you can download the app and scan your tickets to see if you're a winner. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly. Sponsored by Lawn Squad. Quick and easy quote, and you can be on your way to having the best lawn in the neighborhood. Watch the progress as Brian from Lawn Squad brings Danny's lawn back to life. Visit lawnsquad.com.
All right. Darren Ahearn, your host, your weekly real estate dose of updates. And here it is. We're live here on North Market Street, Studio 401. Everything Frederick Live. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be notified. You'll know when we're coming on. And I send it out too as a reminder to everybody that is in my sphere and all over the place. So I just met a guy yesterday. It's today. I'm losing my head. In Worman's Mill, my son, Landon, awesome. We took the box truck. We're helping one of my colleagues, real estate agent friend in Remax, needed help, junk removal, getting stuff out and all that. And I dropped the box truck. I go in the house, shake his hand and everything. And he saw my shirt talking. I introduced myself and he goes, "Oh man, I listen to your radio program all the time." I was like, "Yeah, be kidding me." I almost said to him, "Why didn't you give me a call? Why are you calling my call?" No, I'm just kidding. They've probably been good friends. I love the fact when people are loyal. I think it's awesome in real estate. I really, really, really do. So that was cool. All right. The big thing here, more crazy stuff that can delay settlements and have things go south and have people kicking the dog and mad. And we never, ever want that to happen. If you have enough time and money, you can fix almost anything. Title issues, more stuff out of our control, title company. The cool part is I bring in, this is where I drag in Brianne from Community Title Network to talk about, hey, what are all the things that can go south that you deal with, that you call us up and you're like, I got bad news, there's going to be a delay. And these are the things behind the scenes. Now, they're pretty darn proactive. Title companies, they start doing they don't do title searches like, oh, we'll just do it 3 days before settlement. Absolutely not. A lot of times, if I am worried about a shared driveway agreement, a shared driveway from my buyer seller, or man, you name it, I can look around and see things and I'm like, I might want to check out the title on this. It depends on what it is that we can suspiciously think about. This might be something that needs to be looked into now, not in a week or two, now. But when title companies jump on this, they are full blown all into it. But some of the items that do this is unpaid liens or judgments. Woo! Sellers. I asked this on my intake sheet for sellers. Hey, do you have any liens, mechanic liens? Do you have any liens, unpaid taxes, judgments, you name it? Bankruptcy, or you in the middle of, or whatever. Like a lot of agents don't know how to ask this, and here's why. I want to know in the front end if there's something that has to be worked out before we put the house on the market and get a buyer to buy your house. Because some things can get tackled very quickly. It can be cleared up in like one credit card payment or like a payment or this or whatever. And then there's other stuff. Oh man, federal tax liens, IRS liens, state tax liens. Are you nuts? That is living hell, guys. I'm not kidding. They want your money. They're going to get your money, but it doesn't show up as cleared for like 2 weeks or a month. And you don't want that in the middle of a transaction. So, and I did. I had one seller one time that I don't know how, but they acted like legitimately. They owned money to the state of Maryland on tax stuff, and they forgot about it. They're like, oh God, we totally forgot. We've been making payments. We've been doing our job, but we didn't think we had to pay it all off to be. Yeah, of course. They want all their money. All right. Unknown heirs or ownership disputes. Woo, this is title issues here, all right. This is what protects when a buyer buys a property, when they get title insurance and they pay for that one time and it covers them for the life of the ownership that they own the property until it transfers again. This is crazy, not expensive. Really, it's cheap versus the hell you could go through, because if there was an unknown owner, a person that comes in, this stuff, if this is not discovered or discovered late, now it has to get cleared up before the buyer can get clear title, which means they can't get their loan approved. Lenders want to know the title is clear. They are not going to take a risk. The investor is not going to take a risk on a loan that has clouds or problems on title. They're just not going to do it unless they take it as an exception. That can be the person, entity, but the investor, lenders, those rules. Woo, this is a tough one. This is something I revert to Bran and the real estate attorneys to say, speak into this. What are the rules? What's changing? What's allowable? What is not? We need to know this as realtors so we can put this out to our clients to protect them and to help them. This is what separates men from boys, guys. Experience and not. It really is. Part-time, full-time, whatever, forget that. You got to be in this sandbox so dang deep. You got sand everywhere, if you know what I mean. Heirs in public, you're supposed to laugh by that. Heirs in public records. This is also a big one. When they do a title search, they're going back like 60 years, whatever. They're looking at breaks in titles, heirs, public record stuff. The biggest thing we find is this one that we learn about 9 out of 10 times. Thank God the title attorney lets us know later instead of when it happens, because they clear it up and they're like, oh, by the way, 2 weeks ago, there was an unpaid, like this wasn't recorded correctly. We got it fixed already. What? It wasn't done before correctly by a previous title company. They didn't do it right. Man, it happens all the time. It's crazy how much it happens. And if there's an error in the data or even public records, that has to get fixed before the title's good, because you don't want to give a new owner information that's going to follow and attach to a property that's not correct. It's going to cause bigger problems down the road. And then the buyers who become sellers one day are all freaked out and upset about it. Boundary or easement disputes. Yeah. Okay. Buyers, unless it's mandatory, mostly commercial loans fall into this, I think. But on residential, it's not too often that it's mandatory by the lender that a home buyer needs to get a survey on a property. Now, you can get a house location survey. Sometimes we get plats of the land and it's already established, it's recorded and all that. Those we can double check and check out right away. But I'm talking about easement disputes, boundary, whenever there's something that's wrong within the meets and bounds. We call it the property lines, a meandering fence line, a shed that's been built over into the next door neighbor's yard and the seller didn't know it. They're like, that shed's been there 30 years. Nobody's ever said a thing. Well, they are now. Even not if when you purchased it, it was an issue, it can be now found out because you've got somebody else checking this stuff out that's causing the red flag to go up. And so boundary easement disputes. Easement could be rights of ways. This could be for like the trains. I lived in Thurmont, train tracks right behind us. We had this. There was an easement for the railroad that if the train ever tipped over, that was an easement that always had to be open and clear and free so that they could access it to upright a train if it, God forbid, it ever crashed or turned over and it didn't wind up in our backyard, right? Boundaries, same thing, shared driveways, all those things. Missing releases from previous mortgages. I touched on that. That was a big thing that we talked about. And then problems discovered during the title search. Now, this is something, again, Brianne would be able to vouch into. That could be a gazillion things. They really have to dig deep and hard. And title abstractors, if you listen back a few programs ago, the ham rocker, the only ham rocker known in Frederick County, he was sitting right next to me here and we were just talking real estate stuff. That's his whole profession. He's done it for decades. All he does is research all this stuff for title companies and gives them the information, and then they review it as a real estate attorney or processing and all them and making sure it's all correct and there's nothing else needs to be done. So big stuff here, guys. Problems during discovery and title search stuff. I literally, as an agent, I practically sometimes have held my little breath on these. I want to know very quickly, I mean quick, do we have clear title? Now, one of the most trickier ones, and I'm getting ready to settle on a brand new build in Bloomfield. First time it went from the farm, Crumlin Farms, got broken up into lots, got subdivided, got recorded. Somebody says, oh, what could ever be wrong with the title on that property? This is probably the scariest one because it's the horse out of the gate that could fall over and kill itself. Seriously, this one has no track record. This one was a farm subdivided out to a subdivisional rights. So this one, I'm really hyperventilating on these ones because these ones have stuff that can be attached to the bigger thing that hasn't maybe been resolved yet. Normally it would be, but may not. You don't ever guarantee it. All right, 5 more minutes in the program. Inspection and repair issues. Oh, man. The other stuff you might as well say is a little boring versus this one. This is silly, stupid now. Inspection and repair issues, major problems found during the home inspection. You know what? In my career, I tell buyers this and sellers too. There's no such thing as a perfect home inspection. It doesn't exist. If you think you're going to pay a home inspector $700 or $800 for him to come in and tell you, yeah, can't find a darn thing. Here's a 100-page report and maintenance issues to pay attention to coming up. You have another thing coming. This is why even with new construction, I do a pre-construction meeting where we meet the superintendent or the person that goes through the brand new build with my buyers who have a right to have a home inspector. And somebody says, why would you ever have a home inspector for a brand new build? Because people show up on a Monday morning and sometimes nails don't get put into wood the way they're supposed to, if you know what I mean. I've seen it all, guys. I'm serious. It's crazy, some of the stuff you see. So it's important. But during a regular home inspection, no matter how old the house is, you're going to find things. And so now it comes down to the repairs are not completed as agreed. The work, sometimes the seller's like, oh, I know in the agreement we were supposed to fix X, Y, Z, but we just didn't have time. We didn't get to it. That will definitely delay a settlement. That's why when I represent buyers and sellers, but buyers, I am crazy about them getting the work done as fast as we can with a contractor, namely, if that's what's agreed to in the contract. You got to get that stuff done quick. You can't play games. The next big thing, and that's in those, you gotta follow through with it. Re-inspections reveal unfinished or inadequate work. This is why buyers have a right within 5 days of settlement to be able to go and check out and review a property. The last thing I do when there's a ton of work being done, and it's not just closing cost credits I get from my buyers, if there's work being done, especially big stuff, not just like little things, I am definitely going in 5 days before. I want to see receipts. I want to see the work myself. I am nutty about this because imagine it, an inexperienced agent that's like, oh yeah, we'll just go in the day of the walkthrough, the day of settlement, do our walkthrough. What recourse and what time frame do you have to keep from having to delay in a settlement than something that you find that the seller didn't take care of hours before settlement? Are you nuts? You can't fix it and do anything about it at that point. You're in big trouble. That could potentially delay things. So reinspection of work. Now, inadequate work, this is really a nutty thing. Subjective. The reason why this is so subjective is who defines how good the work is? Work-like manner? Is it working or not, right? I've listed houses. The seller hires a contractor. Work gets done. We all think it's great. Buyer comes in and says, I don't like it. I wanted it done XYZ way. What are you, crazy? It's done. They are crazy because it didn't happen the way they wanted and they want to try to delay things. Can't do that. Ain't going there. If it is acceptable and it's been done, there is a subjectivity part of this that we as agents have to be really, really into reality and into the real world and not la la land and be practical and reasonable and smart thinking about how to navigate through that. That's called an experienced agent versus one that maybe hasn't had this problem much at all. The parties cannot agree on the repair credits or the costs. Yep, that happens. It happens. The easiest I find more and more now, most buyers would rather have a credit if they can, if it doesn't exceed the percentage amount that the loan type dictates, okay? 3% for conventional loans, up to 6% FHA, VA, and USDA loans. There's your numbers. Okay, so if those are already maxed out, which is rare on the others, but let's say conventional, you can't get more closing cost help. You got to fix it, for goodness gracious. So you don't want to get pigeonholed. You got to know what negotiating leverage and strategies you need to be able to have from the get-go in these cases when it comes to repairs and things like that. Because in the costs and the credits and things that are agreed to, the only time that can happen is if, in fact, there's been an established amount of credit that's been done and it's allowable by the lender guidelines. And that amount's been on an addendum as a credit, closing cost credit for any of that. And then all of a sudden that addendum has to go to the lender and it has to go to the title company. That number gets plugged into the Alta settlement statement sheet, which we get 3 days or sometimes only 2 days before settlement. Once we get that, what would happen if that number is not correct? Here's the problem it can present. Anytime a settlement statement sheet that affects the lender and the investor, if that number gets changed, we can't just change it without them and the underwriter re-signing off and approving it. There are guidelines and strict limits that there's cases where they absolutely have to go over those numbers and sign off on. Now, 9 out of 10 times that can happen in a day or two, but the day before, forget it. No bueno. End of the story. That would be an absolute delay of a settlement if those numbers are not right. So what do I do as a listing agent? What do I do is when I'm working with buyers, I go to the title company and say, hey, make sure you triple check, please, for the love of God, triple check the credit for the seller concession part. Make sure that's correct on there when you balance the numbers. When you balance everything, the lender balances it first. Title company reconciles and does the credit debit stuff and balances it secondly. Making sure that is all done. So, all right, check this out. I love it. I'm looking forward to your questions, thoughts on this. Next time, we're going to continue deep into this. Next time, we're going to get into, oh my goodness, the appraisal issues, buyer delays, seller delays. Insurance stuff, HOA stuff that delays it, governing, recording office delays, property conditions, legal issues, contract disputes. It just keeps going and going and going. But today, there's a bunch of them. Fraud items, weather emergencies, closing issues, construction ones, utility stuff. Guys, this is insane, but we're going to cover them because everything I'm speaking about and going through is to absolutely make sure that you are educated, armed, and dangerous, and you absolutely have no surprises as best possible when it comes to buying and selling a house. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Darren Ahearn with RE/MAX Results coming to you live here from Studio 401 for Everything Frederick Live. So thank you guys. Take care. Happy buying and selling. And God bless America. We will see you next Monday night at 7 o'clock. Take care now.
Thanks for joining Darren Ahearn on your real estate update. For more smart local real estate insight, market trends, and practical advice for buyers, sellers, and homeowners, follow and subscribe to stay one step ahead.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network, your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.